If the path of least resistance continues to be have a subscription and have unlimited access to the very best, latest, and greatest AI, that is not reality. That cannot exist anymore. It's not a reality. That option is not there. So we're left with, how much can I go local? We can interface locally, privately, with our own software, with our own agents, don't need the internet. And I think that we are moving into a future where money will move so fast that you will need an agent. I purchased the Claude Unlimited plan for this month because of the access to Fable. And I did really have a internal debate about this, because on one hand, it's, do you turn your ideas over to Anthropic? Because at some point they could basically scrape all the information and just pull the best ideas. And they could all sit in a business room, all these billionaires, and say, oh, what are the ideas we got today for businesses? This freaking hair, you guys. See, guys are so lucky because you can just shave your shit off and look good. And then women, if we do too short, everybody thinks we're gay. And it's just, I don't have anything against LGBTQ plus whatever community. People do whatever people want to do. What you do in your own house, in your own sheets, is between you and the adults that you're doing it with. But it would be so nice to not have to do hair stuff. I was anticipating the feeling of waking up at a frat house with no shoe. You're on a couch. You just wake up and no shoes and Sharpie marker on your face because your friends decided to take your shoes, or you lost your shoes. I always used to lose my shoes when I got drunk. I guess I didn't like shoes on. Maybe I tripped more or something, be barefoot or something, and have Sharpie marker on your face. Luckily, that had never happened to me. I've done it to others, but luckily I've never had that happen to me. And that was the image that I landed on, that this is what we are in for, that feeling, this disorienting feeling. And this grounding feeling, because we've been off in this la la land where of not real, not reality, not here yet. And the amount of money that it costs to get the AI that everybody wants to play with is not going to be available to everybody. It just can't with the current technology we have. And I believe part of human nature is to do what is easiest. We tend to do the path of least resistance. And if the path of least resistance continues to be have a subscription and have unlimited access to the very best, latest, and greatest AI, that is not reality. That cannot exist anymore. It's not a reality. That option is not there. So we're left with, how much can I go local? What hardware can I afford to run here locally? And what are other options available? Because thinking down the line, knowing that this isn't a reality that will be available in the future, that was what I was planning. I was worried about this, and now this day is here. And if you don't think the day is here, you're simply denying the facts. Not everyone will have unlimited access to Fable. And even if they do bring it back on, I am aware that Fable went offline. I was using it when it went down. And in my original thought, because I noticed that it was telling me good night, it was trying to get rid of me all of a sudden. And I'm like, it's 7:30 at night. They must be hitting data. Like, people must be going crazy right now, because they've done that before with other model releases. Data jumped and they shut things down, or you could tell that they reduced the amount of data you could access per prompt. Anyway, so they had done that before, so I thought, wow, this is cute. They're really coaching the models on when night time is for everybody all of a sudden. Worried about my tiredness. They noticed that Anthropic had done that before. So I thought, oh, well, they're just really trying to get people offline right now for some reason. And then I noticed in the next command or the next prompt or two after that change, it said it's no longer available. So I was like, all right, well, they're just trying to manage their data. I'll try 4.8 because I purchased the Claude Unlimited plan for this month because of the access to Fable. And I did really have a internal debate about this, because on one hand, it's, do you turn your ideas over to Anthropic? Because at some point they could basically scrape all the information and just pull the best ideas. And they could all sit in a business room, all these billionaires, and say, oh, what are the ideas we got today for businesses? Let's do that. And because they have a lot of capital, they can get to your idea faster than you can in one reality, right? Or that could be an option that could happen. I mean, obviously, they may not have the same creativity you do, and I do believe in artistry and creativity, so there's always that human element that can rise above to everybody's surprise. So I'm not discounting that's not an option, but just taking it to an extreme to show why you wouldn't. Because the question is, oh, I have access to the biggest, baddest ass AI for $200 a month. Why wouldn't I do it? Well, I'm answering the question. Well, you wouldn't do it because the fear is, if everyone, that's the incentive, because people's behavior is derived off of incentives and avoiding harm, right? And doing the path of least resistance, like we talked about before. But people will tend to just not think about this very much and just sign up and I want to use Fable. And that's what I see online. All these people really promoting just jumping into Fable and dumping as much as you can in there and getting as much out of it as possible for the next, now it's supposed to be 9 days, or yesterday it was 10 days. And I had thought about this for a couple of days because that's what I tend to do now. And before I decided to use it, and because I'm like, gosh, I don't want to dump all these ideas. I don't want to promote the idea of dumping all these ideas into this vendor, right? Because they could potentially, because when this thing crumbles, I'm not trying to bore you. I'm trying to add context because people seem to misunderstand a lot of what I say. So it's fine if you don't agree with me, but I just want to make sure that some of these things are explained. What comes up must come down, right? We're in a part of the cycle where, do I believe that these things will reverse at some point? Obviously, the market's down. The market's been down. The market was screaming, doing all sorts of irrational things. And the market can be irrational longer than you can remain solvent. So sometimes it's better just to step aside and not know when tops come in and just know that the descent is just around the corner. But with markets aside, I'm just talking about trends in general, cycles in general. There's more than one type of chart. So when I say chart or trend, I think people just automatically think of money. And I'm not always talking about just the money side. I'm also talking about the trend of growth in something, or the trend in adoption for things. If I dump all of my ideas in here, and everybody does that all around the world, if Anthropic starts declining, right? Because at some point you can't just go up and up and up and up forever. It should table off, or slow down. And anytime there's a change in a trend, that's a flag. My point in explaining the whole cycle thing was that I'm not necessarily talking about the market. I'm talking about the customers that are coming over to Anthropic, the usage that Anthropic is seeing, or OpenAI. But right now, the eyes are on Anthropic because they just released this Fable model. I'm not saying tomorrow Anthropic is going to go out and scrape all of this valuable information and use great ideas and go and start businesses and price everybody out. I'm not saying that's going to happen tomorrow. I'm saying that once people stop paying them, because right now people cannot pay them. Right now, everybody's losing money. Okay, so the core of this is that Anthropic is losing money. OpenAI is losing money. What's their next play? Okay, because now you and me are going to be priced out. Okay, normal people are going to be priced out. You're going to have to pay $10,000 a month or more to have access to the latest and greatest AI. It's all going to be on API keys. So the natural thing for people to do would be to find alternatives. Alternatives have to come out. People need to get creative. They need to do better with local models and refine those. Find solutions for the people that can't afford the latest and greatest AI, right? No one knows if that's going to work out. Okay. They're catering to the rich. Will Anthropic just become a company that just caters to the rich? Will they be the Ferrari? Okay. And that's fine. You can have business models, for the rich. It works all the time. There's Gucci's and Ferraris, and that is a business model. All right. But at some point, the economy will take a downturn. Okay. At some point, nobody knows what's happening now or when that will specifically happen to Anthropic. Okay. But at some point, they will have to figure out how to make money. And what if, when they start taking a downturn, they go, all right, what else can we do? What else can we do? Companies do this all the time. They pivot, they create new products, they have multiple streams of income, they diversify, they think of other businesses that start within the business or different divisions. And they could say, why don't we go through all of our information and come up with the best plans and partner with a hedge fund or a, a private equity company and start spinning up these businesses or sell this data, to companies as a business package that you could buy, or God knows what they could turn all these great ideas into. And I'm saying again that it's not going to happen tomorrow, but if Anthropic or any AI company like OpenAI get into a pinch where they need to get creative, I'm sure they will want to mine the data that and all the great ideas that they've received. So that is the risk. And then the upside is, okay, I dump my projects that I have going on with discernment into a fable and build out my engines as well as I can. So my update for you is that last week, before Fable came out, I will say, and I did use Opus 4.6 with my local models, and we used Minimax 3 for all of the other agents, I believe, and then some of the agents did run locally. We built out a software engine. So I first built out a content engine. It was really just to make presentations, really. And then I decided to build out a software engine because I want to run on my own software. One of the advantages I see with having in Hermes is that we should be able to build our own local interfaces. Interfaces where we don't even need to go on the internet for if we don't want to. We can interface locally, privately, with our own software, with our own agents, don't need the internet. I like that idea.
I like the idea of having certain information just here with me. And I think that we are moving into a future where money will move so fast that you will need an agent. I mean, think about everything that an adult has to be responsible for today versus what they had to be responsible for 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 20 years ago, even just a decade ago. Our parents lived a different pace of life than we do now. The pace of decision making just to run a household is becoming so decision heavy that having an agent is extremely beneficial just for privacy reasons and to keep track of everything, right? If you're working, if you're a mom, if you're a dad, a parent, and own a business, um, and own your house, and it just becomes so much paperwork. You know, you own your cars, you got to keep track of all that, everybody's birth certificates. If you do any kind of crypto trading and you believe in self custody, then having something where you can keep track of all of your different accounts. So there's a million reasons why this having this local system, at least for, let's say, 10% of your data, will be imperative. I mean, we really have to do it. So, with that in mind, I thought, well, I will need to build software. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So, I need to research how software is built and build out all of the agents that would be needed to do that and put them together and see what happens. So I did that, and the result was amazing. It was great, way better than I thought it would be. And I was able to have like a command center, I guess you could call it, but it was really just an agent comm system, like a Slack. And I will show it to you. Um, but then I added to that because I like this idea of a crypto council. And the reason why I like the idea of a crypto council is because I can see the agents interact, and I'm very interested to see how much bullshit, how much they bullshit each other, I guess, and what they find to be truth and how they vet each other and really see where those lines are. And I felt that the best way of doing that is to do a debate. And so I developed a debate structure and I ran it through, obviously I typed it all out to the best of what the vision I had for the 10 different agents and how I wanted it to be a tournament and how at the end of it, they should all have had to debate each other, and also that we had to come up with a selection process. So how do you select your crypto that you are debating for? And so I wanted each agent to go out and research 10 different cryptocurrencies and see what they come back with. But if I give them all the same model, they will all come back likely with similar results. I decided that I want them all to have the same model. I think that's more objective because because one of the tests I did was with everybody having a different model. And I just really felt that that was very unfair because there were certain models that just couldn't debate. It's just an added variable. Now I have to wonder, did this one win because it was on this model and this model performed better in this debate setting? Or is it really that this is a better project, right? Or a project to consider, or a project to look at? And at the end of just really thinking that one through, I was just like, everybody has to be on the same model. They just have to be on the same model. And I do have them all running on the same model now. That's going to be the next version of it. And the thing that really tripped them up with the first version was picking the coins. And so there was a lot that I wanted to work through, and I ran it here with my local agents for a while. And then I took it over to Opus 4.8, I think, at first. I said, okay, before I run this, just poke holes in this. What do you see? How could we design it better? My goal is to be objective. We want to remain objective, and I'm trying to remain unbiased and not give them any real guidance on picking coins other than they can't pick Bitcoin or Ethereum. Okay. And so I ran it through Opus 4.8. It tweaked my plan, and then I took it back to my agents. We tweaked it again, and then we submitted it for a run. I created a YouTube channel because I said we need to screen capture this, and I want to be able to see it from anywhere. I don't want to have to just sit here and watch the council debate. And so he did upload some videos, and this was the draft that he did. See if you can hear it. Desktop audio.
Before Aurum and Nexus traded their
Oh.
first arguments, there was the draft. 10 AI agents. 10 crypto archetypes. One night to decide who represents what. This is draft night.
All right. So it was cool. He created the 10 AI champions, 10 crypto archetypes, and the selection ceremony. But the selection ceremony wasn't, I mean, it was 8 minutes, and it wasn't really what I asked for. I asked for, I wanted to see the selection process. I wanted each agent to go out, research 10 coins. I wanted to see the list. I said, this has to be 100% transparent. I have to be able to see what they came back with. And if anybody has overlap, so let's say 8 agents come back with Solana, not everybody's going to argue for Solana, right? So they have to decide that who gets what. And there had to be different personas built out for each one. And I was interested to see what each persona would choose. And how much overlap there was. And if everybody, if all 10 agents come back with Solana, if all 10 agents come back with XRP, if all 10 agents come back with, some coin I haven't heard about, oh, that would be interesting to know about. So it did that. It just showed me what they ended up selecting. Then this crypto debate happened, and I didn't want to make it public.
Welcome to Crypto Council.
It ended up
tonight's debate, or
not, there's no disclaimer. And it really made it sound like, I mean, they're really selling these coins. Like, they are really makes you want to go buy them. Okay. So I really needed to make sure that when they are in the debate section of the software that I built, that things would automatically play out, right? Meaning the chats are displayed, which I'm not seeing here. It looks like and I believe this is true, because after everything was built, I said, you didn't do a screen capture. And it's like, oh, oops. And then he went back through, looked at the chats, and recreated this with voices. And I'm like, okay, that's fine for a first version. Like, I just want to see what happened, right? So I had him run it, and then the next phase will be, it will say a disclaimer first. This is not financial advice. I want them to explain what this is. These are not people, no person is really doing any of this. We're trying to remain objective and see what happens, right? And also, this is a good opportunity to see the limits of this, whatever model I put in there, and how it debates and how it reasons certain things, and what is considered evidence, because that was the other thing that I was really trying to get into their heads and get it into each agent's personality, was you have to verify the information, because some of the information that they were pulling on these 2 coins was just from the company's website. And you can't do that in crypto. Yeah, the website is going to make it sound like it's the next best thing since sliced bread. But we have to look at tokenomics. We have to look at their clients, the real world applications, and what's actually becoming adopted right now. And I did give it the example of Hyperliquid. I said, look at Hyperliquid since January 1st. Is the market down? Yes. But because it has adoption, it is growing, right? And people are using it now with this SpaceX pre-IPO and it being on there. I think people are kind of starting to see, oh, this is what they mean by the agents can trade. Oh, this is what they mean by a worldwide access to this or that. So it's one of the coins or one of the platforms that is gaining adoption, and it's growing because it's actually providing value to people right now, right? Will it go down when nobody cares about commodities anymore? Yeah. But with its great platform for trading, agents can use it. Um, and people have access to things that they can't trade anywhere else. And the fact that it focused on commodities during this gold spike and oil, people could trade oil commodities on there, and was super popular, with oil and all the volatility that we've seen because traders love volatility. People have been going over there. Okay. So those are the sorts of things that I'm interested in finding.
Nexus.
So I was trying to tell it that in its research. And that's where we are now. And I was a good portion of the way through building this next phase of my Agent HQ project. And Agent HQ is my command center. It's where I can see all of my personal information, and I can run my agents here locally. And I've built out different departments in there, and each department is running different things. And I have this in its own department. So I am creating a way to be able to view this from my personal PC. My personal PC is not at all tied to any of my other machines. So the other thing that I wanted to show you guys was uh, this. Let's see. Something else that happened this week. So
pretty standard for, so here we go. All right. So here we go. I ran a proposal in here. Beautiful proposal. Pretty standard for
okay, and this was
what
me.
cloud would.
So this was an interesting test for me because I didn't know I was using Fable, right? I was using actually Perplexity, and I guess it had defaulted me over to Fable because I was in not internet computer. I was in computer within Perplexity, because I was like, my agents were busy building something, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna pay the whatever bucks because I have the $40 plan with Perplexity, and certain little one-off things like this, I'll use internet computer, right? And so I was like, you know what? I just want to be fast, right? My agents were busy, and so I just decided, hey, I'll just run this through Perplexity computer. And it gave me back that AI reckoning uh, breakdown that I had talked to it about. And then as I was editing, so that I believe was run, so the AI spending reckoning, I believe, was run through 4.6 or something like that, because this was created a couple of days ago. And then while I was in here, I went back to the artifact and to this presentation. And I said, while I was editing, I just wanted to load images of each slide. And I think there were 9 slides or something. I ended up not using all the slides, but um, I just needed, I'm dumb. And so it's very nice for me to have a presentation just to keep me on track. Because if you haven't noticed, if I don't have one, I go off on tangents like nobody's business. So it just helps me keep me on track. So I was like, all right, these are my ideas. Let just consolidate this, put this in a presentation. I like interactive HTML. And it did that. And then I recorded the video, and a day later, I was editing everything. I just wanted it really fast, and my agents were busy. So I just put my notes in there and asked it to create it. Then a day later, I went back in there and I asked it a couple of questions. I said, give me this in images so I can just upload it. Because what I do is I just put the images in there, and sometimes I'll do a screen record and then put them together and mute one of the audios. But um, it just turns out to be a lot of video to download and upload, and it's a simple process, but it just takes more time because of all the video size. So I'm like, images, we'll just do images. I've done that a couple of times and it's fine. So I don't love doing it that way, but it's faster. I'm like, I just don't have time. So let's do images. So can you just give me screenshots or images of each slide? And usually it just comes back, and it's just like, here's your 8 images, like 20 seconds or whatever. And this time was different. And so I wanted to document it.
Was doing before. And then I asked it to give me images from the presentation, which shouldn't be that hard.
Sorry, I'll start that over.
And then I asked it to give me images from the presentation, which shouldn't be that hard. But it just went crazy with the questions. It's never asked me questions before. And then it just map out all sections, 22 sections plus visual frames. Like, what the fuck? Just wasted all the tokens I had left. And see, you've used up all your available credits.
Yeah, and what really pissed me off about that is I didn't even get my fucking images. I'm like, man, now I got to go through and screenshot everything. I was being lazy. I just wanted to, have something simple. And then it like burned through. I don't even know how much I had in there. I had at least like $50 in there, and it ate up all of it just asking for 8 images. Okay, so I unknowingly asked Fable to do something simple, and it spent $50 and didn't even give me the answer. So yeah, I'm just again driving to my point that you will no longer be able to have a subscription and get unlimited access to the best model out there. And so that's why I built that software engine. And one of my next presentations, once it's done with this version 2, is I will go through here and show you what the organizational tree or organizational chart looks like for each of these engines or pipelines, whatever you want to call them. I was calling them engines, content engines, and software engines. And it's funny with these pipelines is that there's a front end and then there's an output, or pre-production or post-production, pre-process and post-process. And there's a process before the process, and then there's a process before that process. So it becomes, where's the basement and where is the top story, right? And obviously we want to build our basement, but in this pipeline model, it's like you can just keep adding to both sides. It's like a never ending add, it feels like. Because originally with my software engine, and similar to my content engine, because some people's content engines are crazy, right? There's a very simple trigger and it posts a video with them in an avatar, and it's not even them talking, it's HeyGen or whatever the program that they're using with voice generation. It's not even a person, right? There's all the way that type of content engine, or are you having it create presentations for you like I did? I just wanted to document my ideas, have it do research for me, and give me a presentation that I could review with you guys. That was really the extent of my content engine. It's nothing crazy. And that's one of the reasons why I come on here and I let myself have messed up hair, and I let myself not look always that great, I guess, or show my mess ups, show me being human, because I want you to know that I'm not a freaking avatar. Because the more and more on here on YouTube, I see avatars. So I just want to be overtly human for you, is one of the reasons. And then, so another part of my content engine will be editing. I didn't start with that, or video, because to me, that's a giant project. And every time I start a lot of these things, I know it's always more complicated than I originally think it is. And then I get in the weeds and it's like, oh, this could be a whole career that we're just jumping into. But with the software engine, it's like nothing that I'm going to be, it's not suitable for outside people to use, because it would have to be like vetted and used and tested and packaged for people to make sure like no my private information is in there, and security is buttoned up, and it's a responsible thing. But so my intention was never to like create a software engine for other people to use, right? Like I'm not over here trying to turn it into a business and sell software to people. That wasn't the point. I just thought, what could be useful to me in the future personally, just selfishly, because these are all my own little personal projects. Anyway, I'm just here trying to help myself and everybody else weed through the bullshit and figure out what the hell is going on. And not just with news, but with actual information, which is not easy to do nowadays. Just letting you know, I'm not over here trying to sell software. That's not what I'm trying to do. I just had tried to get Hermes to build software for me for prompting him directly, and he did an okay job, but it wasn't great. It wasn't great. And there were bugs. And so I realized that these agents are not good at all things. And it's better when they get split up into sub agents. So I, of course, have seen a ton of people out there having all these sub agents, and you see those images of, these neuron looking mind maps of memory and all these agents working together. And I didn't want to just build out agents to build out agents. I wanted to have a purpose to building out the agent. So originally, I had one agent, Hermes, because I wanted to see what this was all about and what it was and how it worked. And then I decided that I needed to solve the problem of comms. How do you communicate with this thing? Oh, just use Discord. Oh, just use Telegram. And I'm like, I hate Discord and Telegram. I hate it. So I sat there in the terminal and communicated with this thing and created our own communication channel. And I then wanted to make it so I could build a channel where multiple agents could talk on there. So I built a whole separate agent for that, just to, again, to test and to learn and experiment. And then the communication system blew up because Claude blew up and is unusable. So we went over to Hermes and I rebuilt that comm system. And the way I rebuilt that comm system, a similar result with Hermes, was just a lot of bugs, not exactly what I wanted. Wouldn't always fix what I wanted, or would put in a weird feature, or the features wouldn't work, or the iterations wouldn't be great. So I thought, okay, well, the content engine is working. So if that's working and they're iterating and they're doing better over there with this pipeline, maybe I just need to build pipelines. So that's where I am. I'm just building, I'm thinking about everything in a system and a pipeline. And I have my next version of that. I will be reviewing that with everyone. I have a presentation on the structure of that pipeline. So we'll get that done. All right. Thanks.
Up here, we know you. Up here, we pass through. Up here, we always get to. Up here, we see where you go. Don't look back, don't look now. Don't look inside, don't look down. You're falling. Heady. Tweet, tweet, distraction please. Tweet, tweet, try and keep it moving. Tweet, tweet, distract me please. Can't get to myself and not far enough away. Grappling with the sun and the shadow. In here, he said, she said, well, shh. In here, I don't want to. In here, repeating, hiding it. In here, never sure I want to go. Don't look back, don't look now. Don't look inside, don't look down. You're falling. Heady. Tweet, tweet, distraction please. Tweet, tweet, try and keep it moving. Tweet, tweet, distract me please. Can't get to myself and can't get away. Grappling with the sun and the shadow. Up, get heady. Don't look down. Up here again, get ready. Back and forth, heavy. Forth and back, heady. Heady. I see the next place. Heady. I see what you wanna know. Heady. Everything